This is a podcast by the News Minute, and you are listening to South Central.
Hello, welcome to South Central, a TNM podcast where we put the South at the center. I am Dhanya Rajendran, sitting alone in the Bengaluru studio because my co-host Pooja Prasanna, though she is in Bengaluru, she has not come to the office today and she's going to co-host the show from her house. Pooja, why have you not turned up in office?
So, after enjoying the weather in Kochi and Madurai, and I'm in Bangalore for a couple of days before I go to enjoy the wonderful Chennai weather. So I thought I could use 2 days break. But I have to come down to shoot Let Me Explain from the studio. So I will be back.
Yeah, actually Pooja has had a very tiring week because it is pretty hot in Kochi. But despite the heat, our Kerala Bureau, along with Pooja, I think brought a lot of very good stories, both in video format and in text. But by the time this episode airs, Kerala would have already voted and another 1 month wait to know who's going to win this election, the LDF, the UDF, and will the BJP win a couple of seats? A lot of people are still talking about a silent wave for the UDF, while the others say the LDF has consolidated its vote base. So let's see. Kerala is too tough to call. In fact, I think it's 140 elections and not just one election in Kerala. It's an election for every seat because that's how difficult the race really is. Before I go to the headlines with Pooja, she's going to be traveling to Tamil Nadu now, where Shabir, Azifa, Anjana, Nitesh, a lot of our other colleagues also will turn up. So do watch their stories from there. And remember, we have an election fund. Do contribute to that. And just a small note, our subscriptions have come down this month and even last. I know there is a subscription fatigue. People are thinking, how many subscriptions do I take? But eventually, we really would like to depend only on you for our money, which is why we're asking you become a subscriber. And I also realize people on YouTube are confused because they just go hit the subscribe button. No, I'm not talking about that. There is a paid subscription of 500 rupees per month. If you like our work, then do become a paid subscriber and help our journalists. Remember, we do not take advertisements. Pooja, to the headlines.
We'll start with Kerala. Judge slams Shabarimala ostracism, flags gender discrimination in temple ban. Justice Nagaratna, the lone woman on the 9-judge constitution bench, said that such practices militate against Article 17 of the Constitution, which prohibits untouchability. The next one is a political headline from Kerala. Nipo Mone meets Dash Mone Revan as two chief ministers trade barbs across state line. After prefacing his answer with a few words about propriety and decorum expected of a chief minister, Pinarayi went on to say that he would rather respond to Revan Kumar's public remark publicly, only to then add the controversial Dash Mone Revan line. Moving on to the next presently noisy state, Tamil Nadu, because of elections. Death sentence for 9 cops who tortured and killed Bennix and Jayaraj in Sathankulam. In a landmark verdict, 9 police personnel were awarded the death penalty for the brutal custodial torture and killing of the father-son duo. This, of course, we will get into more detail. This will be our second discussion today. The other headline is political. Fadnavis should be ashamed. Stalin slams Maharashtra Chief Minister for Madurai Metro Rail comment. He slammed Maharashtra Chief Minister Fadnavis for suggesting that Madurai would get metro rail services only if the BJP candidate is elected. MK Stalin asked if it's appropriate for a chief minister to negotiate and blackmail this way. Quick note, I had done a video and explainer a few months ago on what are the reasons being given for denial of Coimbatore, Madurai and other metros in Tamil Nadu, and why the logic given might not be very accurate. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Stalin raises concern over Puducherry's statehood delay. He hits out at the union government ahead of April 9th polls. Stalin recalled that Prime Minister Narendra Modi had promised during the last assembly elections in Puducherry that Puducherry would become best Puducherry. However, it is the worst Puducherry that people are witnessing now, he said.
Talking about Puducherry, Pooja, I want to tell everyone that we have a story coming about the tentacles of Santiago Martin, the lottery king. Sudipto and Shabir are putting it together. So there's a lot of Puducherry and Tamil Nadu in that copy. I think it should be up next week, so do read it.
Moving on to Karnataka, disproportionate asset case, Lokayukta conducts simultaneous raids in 4 Karnataka elections. Lokayukta officials on Tuesday carried out simultaneous early morning raids at multiple locations across Karnataka in 4 districts. They were targeting government officials who were accused of amassing assets disproportionate to their known sources of income. This is a News Minute special. Inside Bengaluru apartments, sudden construction of temple sparks debate. A group of residents of a large apartment complex in Bengaluru allegedly built a temple without obtaining mandatory approvals. Another group of residents have gone to court challenging the illegally built temple. Anisha, Sheth, who will be joining us later, has reported on this. And we've been getting a lot of people writing to us with similar stories. So the email that you can write to us is there on your screen. So do write to us with whatever you have to say about this, but also do give us tips and leads for any other stories. This is something we have started very recently.
So these are basically overnight makeshift temples which come up, like you wake up in the morning and there is a temple in the apartment. And Anisha herself records around 4 cases in Bengaluru where these temples have come up, and there is litigation now in most of these apartments. But we are trying to find if there is someone who's really encouraging people to install these temples in the apartments. So if you have any tip off, like Pooja said, write to us.
Just a quick note, Dhanya. I used to always wonder, the first time I'd gone to Vidhan Sabha, there's a proper nice temple inside. And in every government office you go, even courtrooms, judicial offices, you see like mini temples. I understand faith, but this was something I always found very tricky. Anyway, moving on to Karnataka High Court. The High Court wraps accused refuses to quash FIR in the harassment of Korean women at Bengaluru airport. The court questioned the conduct of the accused, asking what kind of officer he was, and criticized his justification for taking the victim to a restroom designated for men. We had we'd spoken about this in a previous South Central episode as well. Telangana, there is outrage in Hyderabad as sanitation workers made BLOs and they were later replaced. A sanitation worker in Hyderabad was appointed a booth level officer, that's a BLO, in Chandrayanagutta, was filmed admitting that he was unaware how to carry out pre-SIR mapping of voters. And this is the concern we've raised again and again, be it in Bihar, in Tamil Nadu, in Kerala, about how the process of SIR, while we have not said SIR is not needed at all, cleansing of the rolls is perhaps required, but the way in which it's being done is being criticized. Telangana man allegedly drowns pregnant wife and 2 daughters in his own swimming pool. Azharuddin allegedly drowned his wife Farhat and their daughters Umaira and Aisha in his own swimming pool, and police said that he'd been forcing her to get an abortion for the 3rd time, suspecting that she would have a daughter, but this time Farhat had refused. Terrible, tragic story coming from Hyderabad.
And I think in a span of a week, there were 2 similar incidents from Telangana. So I think Janvi, our colleague, is putting together a story. Imagine in 2026, we have 2 cases where fathers have killed their wife and daughters because they do not want to have any more girl children.
Amaravati gets statutory status as Andhra Pradesh capital. The enactment has ended years of uncertainty and political flip-flops over the capital issue that arose after 2014 bifurcation of the erstwhile united Andhra Pradesh. Quick background, while Chandrababu Naidu's TDP-led government in between 2014 and 19 had insisted on Amaravati as the new capital, Jagan Mohan Reddy's YSRCP had done a reversal and said that they want 3 capitals for the state of Andhra Pradesh. So there is no, even almost 12 years after the bifurcation, there is no proper capital for the state of Andhra Pradesh. Child custody case, Andhra Pradesh High Court snubs UK court order, flags colonial mindset. The orders of foreign courts are not binding, particularly when deciding with the custody of the child in a habeas corpus petition, says the court. That's it for the headlines for this week, Panda.
Okay, so thank you for that, Pooja. So we'll jump to our first discussion of the day. Last 2 weeks, we talked about the Kerala election. So now it's time to turn our attention to Tamil Nadu. What's happening in the state? Remember, it's not just 2 fronts, it's 4 fronts if you add the NTK and the TVK. And to talk about that, joining us in the Chennai studio is Sivapriyan, assistant editor of the Deccan Herald. Welcome, Sivapriyan, to South Central.
Thank you, Dhanya.
He's a very familiar face for those who watch News Minute Tamil because every week he comes with Shabir Ahmed on Yenindra Kelvi. And the last few weeks, I've been watching all these angles that you guys are doing, traveling in the car, then you're sitting in a restaurant, there's a cow next to you, the camera person is going from the cow to Sivapriyan's face. No such excitement in South Central. Just one frame. And joining him is Kavitha Muralidharan, also from the studio. Welcome, Kavitha, to South Central.
Hi, thank you. Thanks, Dhanya.
Dhanya, also disappointing will be that no biryani in South Central. They had a biryani episode.
Actually, Pooja, we have a very difficult time controlling Nitish on the camera angle. So like he will say that, sir, please stand here.
Yeah.
Please stand there. Shabir will get irritated. No, don't dictate us now. Let us record it. Let us finish it off. So like it's very difficult to handle Nitish when he gets onto the camera.
Yeah.
And you should start. Sivapriyan is coming from Perambur.
You know, when we were younger reporters, I have even like taken a camel ride in Rajasthan, sat on a cow somewhere, like done all sorts of random things. So I will encourage Nitesh to make you do more such stunts in all the Yenindra Kelvis. But I'll jump right into the election talk. Both of you can take turns. Sivapriyan, what is it a very easy game for the DMK now? Because initially there was some talk that Vijay will get more than 15-20% vote. But I feel that is coming down, right? We are now talking about 10 to 15. From 15 to 20, we are at 10 to 15. But, or is it that people are not able to gauge sentiments properly? Like in Kerala, everybody is saying there could be a silent wave, we do not know. Maybe there is no anti-incumbency, we do not. Everything is that we don't know, we are not sure. Is Tamil Nadu also the same?
See, like, I don't think it's an easy game for the DMK. It's not a cakewalk. So even last time when there was an anti-incumbency, 10-year anti-incumbency against the AIADMK government, it was not an easy thing for the DMK to come to power. All that they could get was about 159, which is 2/3. They were hoping for a landslide last time as well, but they couldn't.
159 was coalition.
Yeah, 159 is coalition. DMK as such, a single individual party is 133. And even that, 8 of them were from other political parties who contested on the rising sun symbol. So their effective strength is about 125 individually. So the DMK has done a lot of groundwork in the past 5 years, which we saw on the ground, especially when the SIR happened in November 2025. So the DMK has a slight advantage in terms of groundwork, in terms of reaching out to the people, and also in terms of alliance and the alliance arithmetic, chemistry, and so on. But the AIADMK, I think, is also fast catching up. EPS campaign is actually good. He's drawing a lot of crowds. And like you said about Vijay, I don't think it is very easy to gauge what will be the performance of Vijay. Vijay could be between 15 to 20 still, because he started campaigning now. So today he is in Tirunelveli, he'll be in Thuthukudi in the evening. Tomorrow he is in Kadalur. So we believe that he is going to hit the road almost every day, or at least alternate days. So if he is able to manage to come out every alternate day and speak to the people, probably he'll poll another 2-3% from the 15. So if Vijay could be between 15 to 20%. And I don't think it's very simple that Vijay will affect DMK or Vijay will affect ADMK. I think he's going to affect every single political party that has taken root in Tamil Nadu, be DMK, ADMK, Congress, BJP, NTK, every political party. But the results will tell us who is going to get affected by Vijay more than the other. Is it DMK or AIADMK? But going by what we see on the ground, a lot of traditional AIADMK supporters, I'm not talking about their core vote bank, which is about 22 to 23%, which is only for the 2-leaf symbol. They will not vote for those. They will not press any symbol other than 2 leaves. That is about 20 to 24. That is not going away from ADMK, but the anti-DMK votes that the AIADMK harvested for a very long time due to the strident anti-DMK stand, and also the anti-DMK strident stand that Jayalalitha took for a very long time, about 30 years or so. So that is drifting away from the AIADMK is what I believe. And a huge chunk of anti-government votes may also go to the TVK. And as we all know, the Gen Z generation, they might go in favor of TVK. So it's very difficult to predict this election, but all I can say from what I see on the ground is that the DMK has a slight advantage in terms of alliance, in terms of alliance chemistry, perception, and also the personal image of the chief minister, which is very, very rare for a DMK chief minister.
Yeah, so one thing I saw in very little that I spoke to people, and tell me if I'm right, Kavitha, is that Vijay's votes are scattered across all constituency, which means that in every place he's eating into somebody's vote. And like you rightly said, it's not just DMK, because in certain places we heard that, traditional VCK voters are also moving towards TVK now. And people who generationally voted for ADMK and DMK are now, their children are trying to convince the family elders to vote for TVK. Interestingly, in Madurai, I spoke to a bunch of young women, young meaning 30s and 40s, and they kept calling Vijay Thai Mama because they said he's our brother. And for our children's future, we will vote for Vijay. So is that a sentiment where seemingly apolitical people are turning towards TVK, hoping that he will bring a change, break in the cycle? Kavitha, this is for you.
Actually, I'm very confused. I think the Vijay phenomenon kind of defies all logic in Tamil Nadu. I can't really understand why people are like even thinking of voting for someone like Vijay. I'm sorry.
I couldn't agree more, but yes.
No, it's very strange. I mean, when Sivapriyan was talking, he mentioned how if Vijay manages to step out every alternate day, it will make some sort of difference, So we've seen Vijay's different avatars. He's been like weekend politician. He's been like evening. He'll campaign only till 6 in the evening. So all kind of phenomena, and people seem to accept everything without any question. Everything about Vijay, they don't question at all. Every mistake that he does, people should hold him accountable. They're not holding him accountable. I'm like completely surprised what's happening in Tamil Nadu with regard to Vijay. So this also makes me wonder if, are we really, I thought once, after 2018, after Kalaignar passed away, I thought we were kind of, this personality politics were kind of, it's come to an end in Tamil Nadu. But when you see people kind of overwhelmingly in support of Vijay, and I have been talking to people from college students to pretty much older people who are like well-read and all, who are writers, intellectuals. Most of them also seem to kind of, they have I don't think they'll vote for Vijay, but they have some kind of soft corner for him. They wanted to kind of, why not give him a chance kind of argument they come up with. So I'm like wondering if Tamil Nadu is going back to personality-oriented politics. That's one question I have. And I don't know, one major flaw that Tamil Nadu did was to suspend elections in campuses, which I believe led to depoliticization of students. And now we are here. People don't understand what students especially don't know where we come from, and they go after the cinema craze.
I'd just like to add to what Kavitha said, that Dravidian parties, I think in the past 20 to 25 years have failed in educating or sensitizing the young generation about the Dravidian movement.
Exactly.
So at least till my generation, we at least had some interest in it. We went and read a lot of things. We had the habit of reading books and so on. But now the Gen Z kids, they don't have any kind of knowledge about what the Dravidian movement is. And the political parties, especially the DMK, which claims to be the torchbearer of the Dravidian movement, did not take any steps in the past 25 years to sensitize people. So what they are doing now is, since 2022, especially after they came to power, and they had some kind of an inkling that Vijay might come, because Vijay has been teasing his political entry for the past 10 years, not like Rajnikant for the past 25, 30 years. So the DMK knew that Vijay might be coming. So they started sensitizing since 2022. The ADMK started off very, very late. Only after Vijay came, they actually infused a lot of fresh and new blood into the students' wing. Only now they're starting out. So and what these Dravidian parties are doing now is to blame those Gen Z people who are supporting Vijay. So that's very, very unfair. If people are going behind an actor or going behind someone who has not spelled out his ideology, it is not the problem of the kids alone. It is also the problem of the established political parties, because you did not educate them. You did not tell them what is this movement for.
I just want to make a few quick points. See, one thing is last week we had 2 youngsters from Kerala who had joined us on South Central. And one of those speakers, his name is Gautam, he was saying that the reason why we are talking so much about politics in Kerala is because we have politics in our campuses. To the point that Kavitha was making, that he said we are so educated about all this because we breathe politics even in our campuses. I am, of course, a votary and a supporter of campus politics. The second thing that we should not forget is the number of young voters in Tamil Nadu. According to the latest statistics, that is 20% of voters in Tamil Nadu are young people. So if even a very sizable portion of those people turn up for voting and they decide that they want a new alternative. Now, I don't want to go with just one person I've spoken to, but I did speak to just one person in Bangalore who said he will go back to Tamil Nadu to vote. He's an AIADMK voter. He will vote for Vijay because he wants a change. And as an experimentation, right? People can do that. But really, are young people not aware of ideology in Tamil Nadu? Because I see bombardment of everybody talking about Dravidian ideology, right? From your Instagram reels to YouTube shorts. There are so many things on Dravidian ideology. Are you guys really saying that young people are not educated enough on the Dravidian ideology? But also to add one more layer to that, isn't there a confusion? For example, AIADMK talks about Periyar, DMK talks about Periyar. Now, Vijay also talks about Periyar. So, young person is thinking everybody is saying the same thing, right?
Dhanya, if I could just add to what you were saying, that was the disagreement I had too. Because I think across the country, if you look at, apart from Hindutva politics, Dravidian ideology is one ideology that has managed to kind of trickle down generations in different forms, like you said, on social media. They've managed to somehow make it seem cool, which is a very difficult thing to do, right? For young people to think politics is cool is a mammoth task, if you ask me. But I think the reason they're turning away from it is the very nature of young people, where they're rebellious, they want change, they don't want to go with what their parents have been doing. And that's where I think Vijay has that appeal. That hope is what they think. Other than that, I don't think they have done a poor job of talking about ideology. Yeah.
No, what? I don't know. As Dhanya mentioned, Instagram is full of, ideological reels and everything. But I don't know how algorithm works. For example, his name is TTF Vasan. There is this biker called TTF Vasan. I didn't know that this person existed till he was arrested or he got into some controversy. So, but I realized that the lakhs of people were like following him. So I really don't know how algorithm works. If it's targeting people like us who already knew what Dravidian ideology is, who Periyar is, and not actually going to the youngsters. We also need to understand what Instagram does, so that is something that keeps confusing me. So I think Sivapriyan has a point when he says that we have not kind of educated our people enough. Like 100 years ago, you can't get into a medical college if you don't know Sanskrit. There was a fight for that to happen. So if someone who is able to get a seat because of all that is happening in Tamil Nadu, I think they need to know, they need to be told that this was our state and we are here because of this movement, these kind of leaders. And if that's not happening, they'll end up thinking that everything was like offered to them on a platter. There was no struggle or to these things. And that's where we have failed. We have failed to tell them what we were 100, 200 years ago and where we have come today. And that should have informed a voter to vote wisely, to at least not take a chance where you'll be pushed back to those kind of days. My only worry about voting for Vijay is that I think he lacks political clarity. He says he's got Periyar this side and Ambedkar this side. I don't see that happening in practice. I don't see him being, kind of practically following the footsteps of Periyar or Ambedkar. And I'm sure if and when he comes to power, not this time or next time, I don't really think he'll follow footsteps of Periyar and Ambedkar. And that is why I'm actually worried. I'm worried for Tamil Nadu. I'm worried for people in Tamil Nadu who've had a decent standard of life.
See, like whatever reels you see about the Dravidian movement, anti-Hindi agitation and all those things, thanks to the BJP's one language, one country, one everything, the oneness policy. Otherwise, the DMK was actually trying to reinvent itself after the 2014 defeat. So like it was a BJP which gave a lot of issues and kind of a new lease of life to the DMK by raking up the language issue, by raking the Hindutva issue and all those things. So language is what is actually making the DMK thrive even now. So like not many people are aware about 1965 agitation, 1938, 1952 and so on. So like now the DMK is trying to make everything as an anti-BJP. Tamil Nadu is an anti-BJP state or something. But a lot of people, almost 80 to 90% of the youngsters who have decided to vote for Vijay, they don't care about ideology. They don't care about anything at all. All that they say is, we like Vijay, we want to vote for him. And moreover, they also say that we are tired with these two Dravidian parties. There is a fatigue among the people for the DMK and AIADMK. All the more, they also fall into this trap of saying that Tamil Nadu hasn't grown at all. These Dravidian parties have spoiled the state. If these people have spoiled the state, how did the 11.6 growth come from? Where did it come from? Why is Tamil Nadu the only place where Apple iPhones are manufactured till now? Now it is manufactured in Bangalore. It's going to be manufactured in Hyderabad. For the past 7-8 years, it has been assembled only in Tamil Nadu. So like why is every electronic manufacturer who's moving away from China coming to Tamil Nadu? So like these are the questions that the youngsters fail to ask people who say that these Dravidian parties have spoiled the state. Yes, of course, there is a lot of corruption. There is a lot of nepotism. If these two were in there, the state could have grown to a completely a different stature. But still, whatever has happened, Tamil Nadu is one of the fastest growing states in India. It has a nominal growth of about 11.6% or so. But still, people say that this state hasn't developed because they have not stepped out either, or they just believe what Vijay says. Or maybe they are just they always live on Instagram or YouTube, so they don't step out. They don't see the kind of growth that Tamil Nadu has. I'm not saying that Tamil Nadu is the best in India, but still, it is
Better.
It is far, far better than many states.
No, so actually I was thinking, though I did make the initial point that can young people be so unaware? When I think about it, yeah, look at the dialogue in mainstream media, right? That why are you raising the Hindi bogey? They call it the Hindi bogey because it is just a thing that you are clinging on to, that politics is politics of yesterday. So yeah, I guess young people, like I don't think my son would have ever watched a political reel on his Instagram. He's always on cars and football. That is true, actually. It's a lot driven by algorithm. Like if you ask a young person, I don't know, would they know about the Kallakudi agitation? I'm sure they do not, right? So education can mean different things at different levels. I just want to quickly touch upon one point from what you said, Sivapriyan. In Kerala also, the BJP's pitch, I think Pooja also did a story on this, is to say, it's not criticism, but it's basically to write off everything that has happened, saying, oh, there's no development here, this state needs to be rescued, only we can rescue the state, look at what we have done in some Uttar Pradesh or Gujarat, which is a very wrong politics to play in states like Kerala and Tamil Nadu, where people take pride in what is already there. I mean, they do have complaints with their ruling governments, but they also take pride, right? So, all these stories we hear about Chanakya, Amit Shah, how he has done this strategy for every state. Why can't they just see through how stupid the strategy is in Kerala and Tamil Nadu, where they are completely alienating or writing off whatever good has happened in that state till now?
See, I always say that the only strategy that has been consistent for the BJP in Tamil Nadu is their inconsistency with the strategies in Tamil Nadu. So like still, ever since Jayalalitha's death in 2016, see the kind of things that they did. First, they broke the AIADMK, they united the AIADMK, then they broke it again, they united again. So they don't have a clue about how the state functions. So if they had even a slightest clue of how Tamil Nadu functions, or how, okay, let me go to the next level of saying that how DMK functions, or how DMK makes small makes a mountain out of a molehill. So like last week, there was a circular by the CBSE saying that you'll have a 3-language policy for the 6th standard from this academic year. See how the DMK made it. So like why is that the BJP, why don't they understand that these states will never accept Hindi? Tamil Nadu will never accept Hindi imposition. Here, see, like all along, I did all my schooling, college, everything in Tamil Nadu. But when I went to Delhi, when there was a necessity to learn Hindi, I did learn Hindi. I can speak Hindi. It is not that now my son studies Hindi. So like no one is stopping him. He's not studying Hindi in school. He is actually studying Hindi in Hindi Prachar Sabha. He's writing exams. So no one is actually stopping anyone from learning Hindi. That is the problem here. So the BJP doesn't understand the state at all. That is the real problem. Chanakya, all those things, I completely agree. But like the way they have handled this state, especially Tamil Nadu and Kerala, they really don't have any kind of a strategy. All that they know is, okay, if plan A fails, okay, go for plan B, plan C, plan D. I think they'll have a plan from A to Z for Tamil Nadu because nothing has worked out so far for them, nothing at all, except for one plan where they actually tried to grow the party by bringing in a former IPS officer, Mr. Annamalai. So that was the only plan that was successful, but that plan also, they derailed it. The people didn't derail.
Dhanya, if I could just add to that, I feel this entire Chanakya mastermind thing is limited to the politicking part of it. They have not in any state been able to understand the sentiments of the people, not just in the South, even Maharashtra, West Bengal, wherever there is an identity, a local identity that is very strong, BJP has failed to understand. What is it that they're good at? When there is a problem, when there are fissures within a party, they know very well how to get into that vacuum, get into that schism, and then kind of get people from here and there. I mean, use of ED and all of that we've spoken about enough. So I think that's where Kerala and Tamil Nadu, they're not able to understand. Karnataka, they had success because of the local leaders, not because of Amit Shah or not even because of Modi. Modi is just the top part. So I think that's where Tamil Nadu, they will not understand. They don't know how to understand other cultures, other identities outside of the Hindi belt and Hindutva belt. Two Gujaratis shedding their own identities and adopting Hindi. How do you expect them to understand Tamil Nadu? That's, I think, out of question.
And, I also think BJP wants to take its own time. They don't want to immediately form government in Tamil Nadu. They wanted to do propaganda, and they are doing it in every level. They are using, any controversy. They are creating their own controversy like they did in Tripurangundram. And there are 2 films at least, apart from what, our parent Mohan Das then. Mohanji, sorry. So apart from his films, I've seen this one film. I mean, I've not seen the film, but I've seen the trailer of H. Raja's film Kanda Kote and this Hinduda. So I mean, they pretty well know that these are not going to work in Tamil Nadu. People are like not going to make these films successful and all, but they'll still keep doing it because that's not the only thing that they are doing. It's not just about propaganda. They are getting into schools. They are getting into residential areas. They are doing it in a very non-political, apolitical ways. They are using a medical camp. They are using a sports event to kind of mingle with people and kind of drive their ideology. So I'm sure this is all their game plan. They wanted to take their own sweet time, maybe 10 years, 15 years. They don't want to make, H. Raja or Tamil Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. But ultimately, after 20 years, that's how I see their plan is. They don't want to compromise on their ideology and they just want to keep driving. They wanted to kind of create a new set of audience who will take their ideology and maybe make Tamil Nadu better for them. And I hope that doesn't happen.
I actually think they don't get support from the people.
That
is the biggest problem here. See, take Tiruparankundram. So the locals chased away the right-wing people. If the locals had supported the right-wing people that night, things could have changed. The locals said, please get out of this place. So I think the BJP has not been able to get the support of the people of Tamil Nadu, especially in places like Tiruparankundram, where they have been trying to create a problem. So like there is actually no problem. And they don't understand that Lord Murugan, people like actually they come up with peculiar things like Murugan Pujai, Vel Pujai and all. My family, the entire family are all Murugan devotees. We have never heard of something called Vel Pujai. There is nothing called a Vel Pujai. So like they come up with terms, like new terms.
It's also different. In North, it's Subramania. For us, it's Murugan.
So like they don't understand the state, they don't understand the culture. All that they know is Tamil is the oldest language. They say that they can come and get votes by saying two
Tirukkurals, yeah.
by actually reciting two Tirukkurals or by saying that Yadu Mure, Yavarum Kelir and all those things. But people don't fall for all those things.
But I agree with what both of you said. But I did speak to people, perhaps not from Tiruparankundram, they've come from outside. And they felt that, and some of them in fact were DMK supporters originally, they had taken a lot of offense to the stand DMK took, and they said BJP took the right stand. I'm saying it might not immediately result in electoral success, but BJP plays the long game, right? Because if I could quickly give two examples, Baba Budangiri in Chikmagalur, that was a bastion of the Congress. In fact, when Indira Gandhi lost everywhere else in the country, she came to Chikmagalur to contest because that was a sure shot victory for the Congress. Now that is completely saffron. And it started from Baba Budangiri, the Dargah and this one temple, Dattapita fight. So they use it, they build on it over a period of time. And I see that some people, maybe in very small numbers, but have started saying, oh, DMK is going against our belief. So that is something people should pay attention to, I feel.
I agree, but like I think like Kavitha said, like you also pointed out, Pooja, like BJP plays the long game. But I think the biggest stumbling block here is that despite Tiruparankundram being in the limelight for about 2.5 years, I think it is actually the local people, and also like even the BJP doesn't get support from its own allies. See, like they wanted to make Tiruparankundram a huge issue. They were not able to convince the ADMK to part with that seat. So like ADMK is contesting the seat, the sitting MLA is being repeated there.
Yeah, and also the ADMK MLA has gone on record to say that he doesn't think these should be election issues, and he doesn't agree with the BJP stand. So yes. Yeah.
Exactly.
But I think BJP will keep trying. Like, the first electoral victory in Tamil Nadu, Padmanabhapuram in 1980s, I think. And then they won 2 elections in Kanyakumari and Coimbatore in 90s. See, in both places, both in Kanyakumari and in Coimbatore, before BJP won, there were clashes. There were communal clashes. And it's a pattern. I think there is a pattern. BJP wants to create trouble, milk it to its benefit and use it for their electoral strategy. Thankfully, it stopped with Kanyakumari and Coimbatore. They have not been able to expand, but they keep trying. I'm sure they'll, like, it's a long game. They'll keep trying for next 15-20 years. They will not stop here.
With one last question, we'll finish the show, or the first discussion rather. It is about promises. Now, the AIADMK has promised a fridge this time, and the DMK has said we will instead give a coupon of 8,000 rupees. And you can go to any shop that you want, exchange the coupon and buy whatever you want, washing machine, fridge, etc. Of course, both have very long manifestos. Are people, Sivapriyan, you have also been traveling quite a bit, and Kavitha, you too. Tell me, are people looking at these promises also while they cast votes, or is that a thing of the past? Like, does that really come first on the voters' mind, considering how close these promises are also?
See, like the kind of promises that these people have given over the years, especially I think Tamil Nadu has been a welfare state since the times of British. So it's not that like Tamil Nadu got into this welfare thing only after independence. So from the Justice Party, we have had this midday meal scheme, which is now completely transformed into a breakfast scheme as well. It's a revolutionary scheme whose tradition is about a century old. So, and like rice has been an integral part of Tamil Nadu's politics since 1952. So the DMK rode to power on rice, and you can also see the midday meal scheme being implemented as a nutritious meal scheme. Then Jayalalitha came and said that we will make it a variety rice, we'll make it more nutritious and more interesting for the children. Karnataka came and said that we'll give them eggs, bananas and so on. So like this is the kind of politics, welfare politics that Tamil Nadu was following till about 2006. Before that we had free bus passes, In 2011, we had free laptop schemes and so on. So I think the color TV changed everything, and the political parties from welfare schemes, from welfare politics, they got into consumer politics. So I think that is where after color TV, we had mixer grinders, we had web grinders, we had pedestal fans and so on. Now I think after 2016, when Jayalalitha said that she'll give smartphones, it was not delivered. The DMK also made a slew of promises, but they have not been able to deliver a lot of them. So I think the people's trust on politicians when it comes to these promises have come down a lot, and they've also understood that the most of these promises cannot be implemented because the DMK took about 2.5 years to disperse the first installment of the Magalir Urimai Togai that they got. So I think people will now trust only that money part of it. So they'll say, oh, if it is 1,000 rupees, it will come as 2,000 rupees from next month if the DMK comes to power. Okay, fine. But I don't think they will trust the promises of fridge. And also, like, we are only talking about the DMK and AIADMK. The newcomer and the so-called change agent, Mr. Vijay, has gone beyond all those parties.
Yeah.
Said that he will give 1 sovereign of gold, which is about 1.2 lakhs. So like per 1.2 lakh for one woman who gets married. So he also promises a silk saree. So 1.25 lakh. I actually calculated it comes around 35,000 crores. And they also say, so like actually if you calculate some of the key promises, the expenditure involved in it, DMK is the lowest, about 57,600 crores. The AIADMK comes about 89,000 crores, and TVK tops it all by 1.10.
Because he'll not come to power anyway.
So like people know that, because a lot of people who voted for the DMK thought that they will never increase the property tax, they will never enhance the electricity bill and so on. So finally, if political parties or the governments go and take loans from whichever sources they are, like, the end result is that people will have to pay, because the state governments have very limited powers on taxation now. So they are just left with 4 or 5 sources, which is property tax, registration fee and so on. So all these have been increased in the past 5 years. So people, I think, can see through this design, and they will vote they will only think about these direct benefit transfers, and I don't think they will get into that consumerism politics yet again.
Quickly, I just want to add, I know that, there is a differentiation that is usually in DPT versus the consumer welfare, like you said. But I think even consumer welfareism has its own place, and you cannot write it off. I mean, a mixie, a grinder, a washing machine, a TV, a laptop for women is life-changing. You bring them back into the workforce. They earn, they spend more. So that also feeds into your economy. I think of all the states in the country, being a welfare state to a large extent, at the same time being economically quite forward, I think Tamil Nadu has struck a good balance. As far as it increasing the fiscal deficit is concerned, yes, that I think the onus is more on the union government, because they have taken everything except excise and electricity and a few others. So if that disproportion is sorted, I think this isn't a terrible model to follow at the end of the day. Yes,
I actually have a point here. So like laptop is different. Laptop, I did say that it targets a lot of people. It helps because we have seen 2 IAS officers, 2 people who passed UPSC because they had this laptop. So that is all fine. But the point is like universalization. I think so, like everyone getting everything. Actually, the color TV also, it was only for the BPL families. It started off, but like everyone wanted everything. So like then even now the DMK is actually giving this Magalir Urimai Togai to 1.31 crore. I think they should stick to it, or they should actually reduce the number of beneficiaries, because as journalists, we know that a lot of ineligible people are still
getting it,
1,000 rupees. So, but the problem is when parties like AIADMK and the TVK say that it will be universal scheme. So like everyone, because like we have about 2.24 crore rice ration card holders. So most of the apartment dwellers in Chennai do have a rice ration card. They go and get Pongal gift. They go and get every benefit that the government gives. During COVID, they gave 4,000, they went and got it. So I think it is about targeting the welfare measures, giving it only to the needy, people who actually need. So we are talking about this 8,000 rupees coupon. So that is only for non-income tax paying families. So I think there has to be some kind of a criteria where the governments decide who should get what.
I totally agree. I just had someone interesting. You mentioned, Pooja, you mentioned about this women saying Vijay, calling Vijay as Thai mom, and you know where that comes from, no? From all those, what we call seer in Tamil, you know, like wedding gift given by the birth family, brother, yeah. So that's where, and I when that women say that Vijay is her son's or our children's Thai mom, and I think she believes that Vijay is going to deliver all these things. Like it doesn't even strike her that the same Vijay kind of went around throwing all the freebies in his film. So I thought that was very interesting, that paradox.
Vijay is also talking only to that audience
Yeah.
who are going to vote for him. He doesn't talk to he doesn't talk to a person like Sivapriyan or Kavitha.
Yeah.
He talks only to the people who he knows for sure that they are going to vote for him. He will only vibe in the campaign meeting. He will only sing a song. He will not talk about policy. He will not talk about NEET. He will not talk about education policy. He will not talk about the fiscal deficit of Tamil Nadu. He will not touch any issue that a politician or actually a change agent should actually touch, speak, and then elaborate it to people. But he will only come there, dance, he will sing a song, he will talk to the people, he will do that exact vibing thing, and then he will leave.
Yeah.
Too much of anti-Vijay vibes in this podcast, but yeah, I agree with everything. Anyways, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Kavitha and Sivapriyan. I think it's a fantastic idea. How many people get married? How many women get married in Tamil Nadu every year into one sovereign? Of course, it's not coming from Vijay's house, right? So that's a huge amount, 1.2 lakhs. So we can calculate. That's fun, Pooja. Think of that as your max exercise for the week.
The problem is, given how gold prices are fluctuating every day, by the time I do the math and shoot the episode, it would be something else. So I can't stick to the math.
And thanks to Trump and Modi ji also for that. Yeah, so thank you, Kavitha, and thank you, Sivapriyan, for joining us. Pooja will be in Chennai next week, and I'm sure she'll be calling you guys for more takes, hot takes.
Dhanya is ditching me next week. I hope the two of you won't ditch me.
No.
Thank you.
See you soon. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, so after that discussion on the elections, we'll now move on to our second topic. We'll do a quick chat about this. Joining me in the studio is Anisha, Sheth, our Karnataka Bureau Chief. Now, the story is from Tamil Nadu, but the reason Anisha is here is also because she led a project we did last year on police brutality in India. What we're going to discuss is about the verdict in the Sathankulam case. Two people, Jayaraj and Bennix, a father-son duo, were beaten to death by police officers at the Sathankulam police station. And the first additional district and sessions court in Madurai, Judge G. Muthukumaran, has given death penalty to 9 police officers. I think it's unprecedented that this many police officers are being given not just any punishment, but the death penalty itself. Of course, I'm not for the death penalty. And I think there is a problem with death penalty in itself, but that's not the debate we are going to have today. We'll not divert to that topic at all. But why this judgment? It's a 684-page judgment in Tamil. A few parts of it, my colleague Azifa sent me. It actually, describes the torture. So this murder happens during the COVID lockdown, and Bennix and Jayaraj were running a shop. So these police came there claiming that they had not shut the shop and the curfew had already started, but that is not true. What we also know is that the previous day, there was some issue that certain people had with the police, and Jayaraj had tried to advise those people. The police did not like it. For whatever reason, they had some sort of a vendetta. They came to the shop, arrested the father. The son followed them to the police station. What followed for the next 2 days is torture, which is described, in such words in the judgment that it will really shock you. So for hours, the father and son were beaten, the father in front of the son in front of the father, so they would just watch each other. And the main culprit in this Sridhar, he's an inspector, he was saying that let's beat them so much that their cries can be heard in the upper floor of the police station. There were, in fact, around 50 witnesses. Now, the reason why this conviction took place is because of all the witnesses who came and spoke in the court, including a woman police officer at the Sathankulam police station. Right from the beginning, she's one of those few people who are ready to come and say that, yes, this happened. The then Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Edappadi Palaniswamy, had denied anything happened. CCTV cameras were looking iffy at that time, whether there'd be footage from inside the station. So we have seen every way possible there were efforts to scuttle this entire investigation. But there were a few brave people, like that woman police officer. There was a prisoner who shared space with Bennix, who said that literally his skin was completely gone. He could see the flesh and the bones in many places. That's how badly they were beaten up. There were blood stains on the wall of the police station. Their clothes were so blood-stained that they had to give them a change of those clothes. And when they sat down in their car, which outside the court, while they were waiting for their bail hearing, a small mat which was put on the car seat was soaked in blood. That mat was produced as evidence in the court to show how badly they were beaten up. So, Anisha, you have been looking through data, right? How rare is that such a punishment is given in India to police officers?
Not that I could find anywhere that death penalty has been given. So, actually, conviction itself in police brutality cases is very difficult to manage. I mean, it never happens. But there have been the odd occasions when life sentences have been handed out. And incidentally, a couple of them are from Tamil Nadu itself. And one case in particular was a case from 1999 in Thoothukudi when a salt pan worker named Vincent was killed in police custody by the cops. So the trial court convicted them, then it went to the high court, and some of the 9 of them were given life sentences. So last year they went to the High Court, Madras High Court, and asked for the sentence to be suspended. But the Madras High Court said nothing doing, stay in jail. And so that has happened on a few occasions. A lot of other cops some cops at least have been convicted and given life sentences. But death penalty, I couldn't find any case where that was handed out. So I'm actually glad that the death penalty was handed out. Not because I support it. I don't think capital punishment should be allowed. It should be off the books.
And also, I don't think it will stand the test when it comes to the higher courts, most probably.
That is irrelevant.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I believe capital punishment shouldn't be there.
Of course.
But the reason why I'm glad the death penalty has been given, because now I'm wondering whether the cops are going to pause and think the next time they, carry out indiscriminate violence like this. Because like when I was reading, I mean, I didn't know that. I haven't read the judgment, right? But I've read all the coverage that we've done, that other people have done on this case. And every time you hear of police custodial violence, right, the injuries on their bodies are crazy. And despite that, and one of the, like what you were saying about the magistrate, how do they not notice?
Here, even a doctor, she gave a certificate saying that they are fit enough to be remanded. And she is actually one of the witnesses in court, where she's still saying that, look, when they came, I thought it was fine. They were standing and I didn't ask them about the injuries. So I let them go. They told me that they rolled on the floor because they had jumped off from a bike or something, and that's how they got the injuries.
I mean, it's ridiculous the kinds of things that magistrates don't notice. Like the most common sign of custodial violence is people being unable to walk. And then there are standard responses for that. That fell down the stairs or banged somebody's head or something. And like one of Shabir's stories, which we did for the police immunity series that we had done, where 300 people in less than 1 year have fractures. Why? Because they slipped and fell in the toilet.
In Tamil Nadu?
Yeah, in Tamil Nadu. No, in Chennai only, I think. It's only in Chennai Central Prison, not even whole of Tamil Nadu. And the Madras High Court, when campaigners took this to court, the Madras High Court is asking, what do you do with your toilets? Why do you design them in such a way that everybody's slipping and falling? Like, it's that ridiculous, right? Nobody in their right mind is going to buy these explanations. So, like, in one sense, like, I'm glad the death penalty has been handed out, because for once, the cops can possibly be killed for a crime they may have committed.
Deterrent.
I don't know if death penalty is a deterrent, but
it's
I
not,
think
it's
for
never,
shock value at least. For shock value at least, like I'm glad.
Yeah,
Pooja?
keeping the death penalty aside for a minute, I think the conviction itself is a huge, huge step, because that impunity, at least they won't think that they'll continue to have the impunity. And I think the system itself, I mean, look, generally we look at Tamil Nadu as one of the better administrated states, right? Administration governance is slightly better as compared to a few northern states like Bihar or Uttar Pradesh. Even in those states, police think that it's their job. And I think it's a colonial hangover. It's their job to not protect the rights of the people, but it's their job to control the people. So you use force. And I have myself personally seen this being a journalist many times while I'm on reporting. The minute you walk up to a cop who's in a bad mood, who's controlling crowds, their first instinct is to, if they have a lathi, they'll just wave it at you. I've been beaten for no fault of mine by a lathi. So all I'm trying to say is the very thought, the way the police function in this country perhaps needs a relook. And they need to know that you cannot get away with murder, literally, in this case. Last quick point, I think the way these police brutality cases are investigated is also important. Many times it's police investigating their own. So what they end up doing is they deliberately do a shoddy job with the evidence. They will threaten, intimidate witnesses, like we've seen time and again, which is why we see no conviction. So political will is needed, and I think the judiciary also needs to be a little more stringent when it comes to these cases.
I think lack of political will is the biggest problem, Pooja. Every government is, how powerful a chief minister is, and I've seen so many chief ministers, they are still very subservient to the police. They are very scared of what the police can do. I don't know why. I mean, to the bureaucracy also in some way, but several chief ministers, strong chief ministers, have been beholden to the police officers. I think it's very important that we must note those people who went to the court and told exactly what happened in that Sathankulam police station, which led to this conviction. That includes Revati, a woman head constable, Puella Selvakumari, another woman head constable, who both told the court that the victims were brought, that they were assaulted. Revati even said that she heard their screams and she saw blood stains all over the station floor and the furniture. Karupaswamy, a constable, he said that he collected the blood-stained garments. There was a jailer from the superintendent of the Kovilpatti sub-jail, Shankar. He testified about the injuries. Natarajan, a worker at the Sathankulam government hospital, testified. There were at least 2-3 doctors at the Kovilpatti government hospital and at the Kovilpatti jail, and a male nursing assistant, Arunachala Perumal. All these people went to court and actually said. But I feel that's also because of the massive outrage around this case, right? Otherwise, in so many such cases, this would have just fallen through. And as Anisha was saying, it is in Thoothukudi itself that cops got life imprisonment for such a case. And that did not act as deterrent for the cops in Thoothukudi itself. Sathankulam is in Thoothukudi, right? That's the whole irony. They did not see as a deterrent. And our former colleague Priyanka Tirumurthy at that time had done a story about how a few of the accused in this case had previous cases against them for custodial torture. Not death, but custodial torture. And they never learned a lesson. I want to quickly go through the stats, Anisha. Like, what are the stats when you look at all the states in India? How do, which is the worst when it comes to custodial torture? And I want to add that statistics may not give the whole picture because a lot of time this is not even recorded.
Absolutely not. For the police impunity series, I went crazy trying to figure out how all the numbers match or why they don't match. And it's impossible because different agencies maintain different sets of data and different methods. Now, in Parliament recently, a CPI MP from Tamil Nadu, incidentally, sought information on police and judicial custody deaths. And guess what? Tamil Nadu is in single digits. Okay. But unofficially, like human rights campaigners who've documented the numbers, they say that at least, like say, for example, People's Watch, I think between 2021 and 2025, they found 32 people had died during, the current government's tenure. And you look at media reports, right? There are so many of them that we found, like even when I was looking through stuff, we found the stories that Shabir and others and Abhishek have done.
No, so we went through the records, though the NGOs have been tracking it. Abhishek and Nitesh actually went through all the records independently and they found 27 custodial deaths which could be classified as custodial deaths in the past 5 years in Tamil Nadu. But what about the other states?
The other states, see, the numbers are, the parliament gave data from the National Human Rights Commission. And I'm not entirely sure about this. But first of all, the NHRC collects data in terms of, like, say, April to March, one. NCRB collects it differently, calendar year. Okay, so you can't tally the numbers any which way. That's different. Let's gloss over that for now. But in the whole country, in 2021-22, you had 176 deaths. The numbers remain more or less consistent between 140 and 170, since that time, each year. But these are complaints which the NHRC gets. We have no way of knowing, unless we sit and individually track what the NHRC does in each of these cases, what is happening with them. Because NHRC, like, my guess is, and like, I have no way of knowing this for certain, they're basing these numbers on compensation awarded. Right? Why is compensation being awarded if somebody hasn't died in police custody?
So I think
Right?
NCRB notes custodial deaths, but even that data is very iffy.
Very bad.
So this is another big issue in India, right? The data. Even if there is data, from where does it come? For example, we were trying to look at male suicides, just going off tangent. And one of the reasons why male suicide is high is family-related reasons. Nobody knows what this family reason is. We call so many cops to ask, how do you know something is family reason? Because there is agricultural distress. There are lots of categories. So this is the number which the men's rights activists take to say that it is because of women that men are dying by suicide. But what is this reason? Nobody really knows.
Yeah. And see, this another thing, right? Like, when you look at the complaints that the Human Rights Commissions get, then you look at the Crime Records Bureau, those numbers are different. And then if you check with the CID, which is the so-called External Investigating Agency, I mean, in Karnataka at least, this is CID, the External Investigating Agency, which is supposed to investigate all custodial deaths, they have a remarkably high number of cases. So when I was working on the series, I found that for the same period that I was looking at, all three numbers were different, but the CID had the highest number of cases under investigation. So then why is Karnataka's the figure, official tally of custodial deaths so low in the single digits? The same applies to Tamil Nadu, I guess, where the numbers, see, anecdotal evidence tells us that torture is really bad. Okay, like serious torture. Like Sathankulam case, I don't know, is some kind of extreme level even for police torture. But there is enough evidence for us to know that police torture is routine, like mundane to the point of being like normal, and nobody cares. But one thing I want to discuss here is that, see, Sathankulam is one thing, right? And thankfully, at least in one case, some justice has been done for now at least. That's still not going to bring those two people back. But all of that, this extreme violence is built on the whole idea of low intensity violence being acceptable. And that is what you see on the streets when, like just this morning, the story that we published, there's a group of people in Bangalore who've come together, prisoners' families. The kind of violence they talk about, somebody standing outside their street and they just get whacked by the cops, or they get picked up by the police for loitering, or God knows what reason. And there is no way to get any kind of accountability for these people.
I think it all primarily stems from the fact that we do not respect human rights, and especially when it's a poor person or a marginalized person, anything can happen to them. And there's this thing, what if he's a criminal? Oh my God, he did steal a purse, so let him get beaten up. Oh, his hand is broken, it's fine.
Wasn't it somebody from Bennix and Jayaraj's family only who said that, there wouldn't have been so much sympathy if, they had a history sheet against them?
His sister actually told Shabir, and I thought it was a very good point. Bennix's sister told Shabir that if my father and my brother had done even a petty crime, then the support wouldn't have come. And she pointed out that everybody who dies in custodial torture must get the public support. I mean, they shouldn't die in the first place. But if they do, that outrage must be similar for everybody. It can't be that we are choosing the perfect person to be killed and then we'll support them.
Perfect victim, right?
Perfect victim. Okay. Anyway, thank you very much, Anisha, for that. A quick chat. You have any recommendations for the week?
Yes. For once, I want to ask people to read the story I published this morning. It is about the families who have gotten together. They all have relatives in prison. And I couldn't include more than half of what they've told me simply because I am confused about how to write it. Because there is no evidence for any of that stuff. The level of corruption and low intensity, low key violence is enough to slowly suck the life out of you. And that is what is happening to these families. But they've gotten together, they formed an association, and now they're taking on the cops left, right, and center in Bangalore. And the cops are, well, learning to mind how they behave.
Good.
So since it's election time, I would recommend the DMK Years by R. Kannan. He has also written the biographies of M.G. Ramachandran and C.N. Madurai. So it's a good book. It's kind of an encyclopedia on DMK. He has relied on a lot of primary materials from M. Karunanidhi's Nenjikanidi, it's his autobiography and so on, but it's a very good read. So it has interesting facts about how Kachativu was ceded to Sri Lanka and so on.
I just finished reading Giselle Pellicot's book, A Hymn to Life. Shame should change sides, and I think it was very shocking for me. Like not really shocking, but it's very striking, the universality of violence against women, how it's being interpreted across lines, how Pellicott herself was blamed by a section for the abuse that she went, victim blaming kind of thing. So it comes across as a very shocking book. I think everyone should read it.
But I haven't had time to read or watch anything, but my recommendation is a Caravan article by Yelena, Comrades in Retreat, how Kerala CPIM took a hammer to its ideology while chasing electability.
I saw Caravan was getting trolled quite a bit for that article. Anyways, mine is a 1-month-old article by Anand Teltumde. It's in the front line. It's called Cosmic Bonds with the Genocide Enabler. It's a very interesting article about Modi. It's a short article about Modi saying Israel is the fatherland and India is the motherland, or vice versa.
Something.
And how Modi is born on a particular day. It's really interesting. So please go read that article. Just one recommendation from me. Yeah, spoiler recommendation. Yes. Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much, Anisha. Don't forget, we are going to cover more of Bengal. Manisha Pandey is going to be in Bengal along with Srinivasan Jain. Pooja is going to Tamil Nadu, where we already have a battalion of reporters. Watch and read all their coverage. Do give money to our reporting fund for elections, because without that, we cannot travel, stay and report all these stories. Thank you to my producer, Bhuvan Malik. Thank you, Ajay, our production assistant, Jasim Ali, our editor, Yana and Sukanya Shaji. Keep watching, keep listening. South Central drops every Friday.